Welcome to today's webinar presented by Supercoder.com. Supercoder.com is an online coding solution offering Part A and B coding reference tools, resources, and not more than 30 specialty coding and compliance newsletters from the Coding Institute in one site. I hope you enjoy this short session.
And means something else, and sometimes you need to be really careful to look at the pathology, to look at what's being done, to look at what's being accomplished, what the target is, because it's going to make a difference in your coding choices. Very briefly, as we get started here, I wanted to go through the very basics of spine coding over and over again as my last checkpoint before I send my cases in. I always run through this list and run through this list. When you're coding some of these cases, and there's 10 or 15 codes for each one, and then also the assistant codes if you're billing for the assistant, it's really easy to miss the instrumentation, for instance, or to miss one level or to miss one portion of the procedure. I always go through one last time before I send them in, and I step through my spinal coding building blocks to make sure that I caught everything that was in each category and didn't leave anything out. No matter how hard I try and no matter how hard I work on it, when I'm typing all of the codes that come into play on some of these complex spine surgeries, invariably somewhere in there, one or two cases, when I go back through it, I think, oh my goodness, I missed this or I missed that. And I do this last checkpoint just to make sure that I capture every one of those building blocks. So on page 2, what I just did, and this is the only slide that we're going to go through like this, we're just then going to move into the spine coding. I once again repeated the basics for spine coding, that you always need to fall back on your basic building blocks: decompression, fusion, arthrodesis, instrumentation, and grafts. And if you're finishing your case, if you do that final checkpoint to make sure you've got every one of those things covered in there, you're going to be more accurate and you're going to be less likely to miss something. Make really sure when you're looking at these, as I just went over, that you're looking at the approach and you're looking at the target. I can't emphasize enough in spine coding that the approach and the target will lead you in completely different places in the CPT manual for code choices, and is extremely important in making the right code choice. Know your payer guidelines. A lot of Medicare or federal payer guidelines are different than specialty guidelines. If you're looking at Medicare for some of your decompression procedures and stuff, they're bundled, and it's a rare event that they're going to allow you to take, for instance, decompression at the same level as the inner body fusion. It's a rare event that a carrier is going to, for your federal payers or for Medicare, that carrier is going to let you bundle or build a decompression at the same time as the inner body fusion. Private payers are changing more in line with Medicare every day and disallowing some of those decompressive procedures, but the basic point here is that you need to understand that there are different rules based upon who you're billing. And if you're going to be billing Medicare, you need to be following their rules. If your carrier allows you to do something and you've queried them on it and they've said, yes, we will allow that, that's a carrier decision. They do have some of that latitude, but you need to have that confirmation from your Medicare intermediary before you start overriding these same level decompression procedures or the same level bundled procedures. Generally for Medicare, it means you're doing things at a different level when you're using your 5.9. You're not doing it at that same level as the procedure that it's bundled with. Again, all of the carriers have the right to make their own rules. That's been well stated, and some of them do allow it, but you need to make sure, once again, that that is something that your Medicare carrier has authorized. So we're going to go ahead and move on to case 1. And this one is a cervical spine anterior spinal fusion, 2 to 7 segments. The ACDF is the abbreviation for it. In this case, a corpectomy was done at C3, a complete corpectomy, and a complete corpectomy at C5. Patient had had prior surgery there. There was a prior fracture that had been fixed. They removed the anterior plate. They removed the prior fusion allografts. They reconstructed the corpectomy levels with lordotic cages. They performed plating.
Supercoder is the fastest growing online reference tool with more than 25,000 subscribers. Call 866-228-9252 to get a free product demo or sign up at supercoder.com for a 7-day free trial.